One of the best shoulder health longevity exercises for strength, stability, and flexibility for the shoulder is simply just hanging from a bar. Adding the element of traction to your shoulder is one of the best things you can do from a strength, stability, and range of motion standpoint. Now maybe you've heard this before, or maybe you've been told in the past or suggested to try hanging from a bar for shoulder strength and stability, and it probably went one of two ways. It was either painful or it felt good for you. If it was painful, we're going to talk about some logical progressions that you can utilize to overcome that pain and develop more resiliency and progressive tolerance to that traction element of the shoulder. If it wasn't painful for you, we're going to show you ways of advancing this activity so that you can develop greater strength and stability and resiliency in your shoulder overall. Now, most people who try to start with hanging start way too aggressively, especially if they're dealing with pain. They start with full body weight, both hands. Well, again, if you're dealing with pain or don't have the overhead flexibility, this might be too aggressive way to start off. So a more comfortable way to start hanging is just by using your body weight as an assistance point. So let your feet touch the ground, take a load off your body weight by allowing yourself to put weight through one or both legs, and that way maybe you're only 50% weight through the arms or 75% of the weight through the arms. If you're feeling a little bit spicy, you can put your knee in a band and the band will offload your body weight. And then you can progressively lower the assistance of the band over time as you feel stronger. Now visually you aren't going to really be able to see this or tell this on video, but there's two forms of hanging. There's an active hang and there's a passive hang. Both are useful and both your shoulder should be able to tolerate, but both work sort of different qualities. An active hang, you're going to use your lats to think about pulling the bar down towards you. It doesn't mean you're going to do a pull up or bend the elbow. You're just thinking about actively engaging your armpit and think about pulling the bar down towards your waist. This creates a little bit of extra recruitment around the shoulder, and many times if you're dealing with pain, this is a necessary starting point for a lot of people. Now as that pain starts to go away and you start developing more tolerance to that traction position, which is going to stimulate your rotator cuff and your labrum a little bit more, then we want to allow progressive loading into that passive hang position. And ultimately that's where we're going to continue progressing, is through the passive hang position. But again, if you're dealing with pain, you might have to start a little bit more actively and then work gradually towards that passive position. And that again is where utilizing band as an assistance point allows you to start working from that active hang towards that passive hang, which generally for most people is where you want to go to develop more shoulder resiliency, because a lot of people have nice strong lats, but they don't necessarily have a strong rotator cuff or strong resilient labrum. Now a good starting point for most people is trying to get 1 minute of accumulated holding in that hang position. So that doesn't mean you need to hold for 1 minute straight, although that might be a good goal for you to eventually reach. A good goal for a lot of people is just being able to hold yourself there for 10 to 20 seconds. Now again, we said 1 minute cumulatively, so if you do 10-second holds, you might want to consider trying to work up towards 6 sets of 10 seconds. If you do 20-second holds, 3 sets of that 20-second hold. So again, cumulatively you're trying to work up towards that minute hold. Now once that becomes easy and comfortable for you, we also want to start playing around with different shoulder angles. Now this could also be a way of introducing the hang in a more comfortable fashion for you, because you may find that one position of your hand dictates how comfortable your shoulder feels. So we could go with a pronated grip, or palms facing towards us, the camera, or we could go with a mixed grip where one hand is flipped, or we could go with palms facing towards you, which would be a supinated grip. So those are your 3 options: supinated, pronated, or mixed gripping. And you may find that one is more comfortable than another, and just start with the more comfortable version. But over time, you want to develop the resiliency and the capability to be able to do so in all 3 positions. Now once hanging with no assistance in all 3 positions becomes comfortable for you, and you can do it for a minute total cumulatively, again you can break that up over multiple sets, then we can start trying to advance you to a single leg hang. Now you're going to need to go back through the same sort of process where you're going to need some type of assistance to allow you to start hanging from one arm again. So we can use a band for this assistance, use as much assistance as you need. So grab as thick of a band as necessary to allow you to start hanging in one position. What you'll notice is your shoulder has to go through a lot more range of motion. You're going to notice a little bit more dynamic swinging that occurs with this. So again, we're just increasing the amount of challenge, gradually progressing the exercise so that you can continually advance your overall shoulder health, resiliency, and create that buffer zone against injury from potentially ever happening to the shoulder in the future. And then finally, once you work your way all the way down in assistance, we can go with a body weight hold, and then eventually even adding a weight in the hand for added resistance. And that way you can continually, constantly, and progressively load this exercise as long as you want to. Now typically, I'll only do this once a week at the most. You could do this less frequent too, that's totally fine. As I said before in the video, you're working up to about a minute hold in most circumstances when we're just talking about body weight. When you get into the single arm or the single arm with the weight, don't expect yourself to hang for nearly as long. You may have to only start with 30 seconds cumulative total, but potentially I've had, especially if you are somebody who enjoys rock climbing or something of that nature, you definitely should be able to work up to much longer time periods as well too. But for most people who are just concerned with general shoulder health, getting to that minute hang body weight is a pretty good goal or standard for a lot of people to achieve. Alright, so that's it for the hang. Hope you enjoyed this in-depth video tutorial on how to perform it. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the channel with anyone that you think may find it helpful. If you specifically are looking for an online training or rehab program, feel free to reach out to me, Greg, at sportsrehabexpert.com, and we can talk about what working together online looks like.